welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also get me on my Facebook page, True Divine, and it is The True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. Any likes, shares, subscribes on any or all of those platforms is greatly appreciated, and much love to everybody who's doing that thus far. You really helped me build something. I've been busy, but that's a good thing. And I'm enjoying getting to know so many more of you personally while we build this unit, this family that's coming together on this channel. So I appreciate you all. So this is part of the free content that I put out on a daily basis to help support, guide and inspire those who need to be or want to be. Because it is general, only take what resonates with you, leave the rest behind. I work with energy. I've recognized energy from as long as I can remember. I work with tarot. I combine the two to bring a narrative to you to help guide you on your day, to help advise you on the energies that you might feel within, the energies that might surround you, the energies that you might encounter within others. And so take what resonates and leave the rest behind. This is for the 15th of August 2020. So the cards have been so repetitive lately, and there's been a huge message. Yesterday I gave a message about it might have been yesterday or the day before, but about Moses. Which card was it? There it is. It's kept coming up in personal readings also, you know, where he's crossing this sea, taking these people over. And then it came to me that, you know, some information, I was looking into it, feeling my way into it, because I knew it was a repetitive message. So I needed to get more from it. And so I brought up this article that speaks of the fact that basically it represents history repeating itself, as it does when we don't learn our lessons, take on our divinity. And so speaks of, you know, really it being down to a separation of classes, i.e. the pure and the lepers, and then those lepers obviously being led by Moses, who took on that name and was of a different name. I'll try and find it. If not, I'm going to do a video on it, so I'll find it better then. But let's see. I can't find it. Somebody will know. You wouldn't think I'd been brought up in the churches. You can see how much I affiliated with them. Chose himself the moniker of Moses. Finally, it says in this article, finally, Mantheo notes that Osiris, that probably slaughtering that depiction of the word, changed his name when he became the lepers' leader, choosing for himself the moniker of Moses. And so we find ourselves in a time again where, you know, it seems very constructed, doesn't it, this crisis that we're in right now. And so, you know, to take back our divinity, to cross our own sea, so to speak, to separate our waters from waters that would seek to control us and construct their script according to their will, to create something that we really don't want to be living under. You know, it is important that we take on board the fact that history isn't as it's been taught. History has, as we know it through the education system, has been nothing more than a sabotage. And, you know, there is a lot more to our ancient history, particularly our ancient Egyptian history, than is being led to believe in mainstream schooling. It's tantamount to lying with what they teach children. And so to write off what we've been taught, write off what we think we know, and go back to natural law. You don't hurt others, you don't hurt yourself, you don't take what is not yours, you stand in your divinity and sovereignty, you treat the earth that gives you life and abundance with respect, you treat your fruits, i.e. your children, with ultimate respect. And, you know, that's where we can start then rebuilding with a clean mind, not a brainwashed mind, a reality that is more true to form, of the things that we've already done, that we've already created, the free energy that we've already experienced. I know this from the visions that I've had, and then we've got excellent people coming out and confirming it more and more. Cards are flying. So so to speak of history as we've been taught it, there's a reason that people get very nasty about people who want to study ancient Egypt and want to come away from the Rockefeller type education system and actually say something similar to what Tesla, bless his heart, was trying to tell us, and what we had already been capable of. Why would they do this? Well, because look at the power that they have with withholding this information and slowly learning for themselves, slowly remembering for themselves how to create technology. Yet it's a rip-off to the technology that we've experienced in the past, in that we still respected the earth around us. We still respected the fact that different ways of doing things, we could create energy freely and we could create it without damaging the earth. Now we're placed in a time where we are subject to paying huge amounts of bills every single month just to light up our homes, just to bring warmth to our homes. The card didn't fly. I thought it had. Sorry. So, you know, now we are enslaved to the technology that is a cheap rip-off, really, to the technology that we, our ancestors, us, have already created, have already known. And this brings power to a few, and it brings dependency to the many. And so to look into that for yourself, let me know in the comments what you think of that, what comes to mind. I'm just briefly skipping over it just to recap some of the repetitive cards that have come up. And so see what you make of that. See how that sits with you. It's a difficult thing to do, because when we have been brainwashed, when we have been educated in such a way, even when we are shown evidence, we can't see it very often. And so to lift ourselves out of the abusive relationships that we've been in with the powers that be is going to be difficult. But look at history in a different way. Do you really think people dragged stones up with horses and cows and whatever else they try and teach in school, you know, to build pyramids? So precise? No. Just have a look into it, see what you think, see how it resonates with you. The reason that there is such an attack on anybody that comes out of the system to try and teach what our reality really was with our technology, our capabilities, our clean technology. Of course, it's very easy to say once your eyes are open in that, well, because that would take the trillions of pounds of dollars of whatever commerce, whatever system you're under, out of the few hands, and they wouldn't be in quite so much power and have such a force against the many if the knowledge was as it should be and true to form, true to how it really was. So that's where that comes from. So whoever needed to hear that, that's for you. So I'm shuffling the cards as I'm talking today because the cards have been so repetitive. I wanted to do it on the camera, so if this video is a little bit longer, I do apologise. I don't really apologise. Like it or like it, don't if you don't, but I just wanted to do it differently. I do change things up, you know, I don't like to stay the same all the time, but I wanted to just see, you know, what came out. Flying cards on camera in real time. So we've got the Devil so far, we've got the Four of Cups, Four of Chalices, and we've got the Knight of Wands. Now to clarify, the Devil, the Water Princess came out, so the Page of Cups. These cards, wow. So we've got the 2 there, and we've got the 6 of Swords, and to clarify the Four of Cups, and we've got the Five of Swords to clarify the Knight of Wands. So let's see. So we've got the Devil. Now, the Devil really here is, it's been very creative in the way that information has been presented. And so in your individual lives, you are still, if this resonates with you, tied to someone, something, or a belief system, or power systems that keep you in the dark, and keep you hanging on, keep you chained and bound in some way. And so there's limitation here. And so you're paying homage to something that wants to hold you, that wants to limit what you can be, limit what you can achieve, limit what you can know about yourself. The Page of Cups here, the Water Princess here, is to say that, you know, these messages that are coming through regarding consolidating and building up those chains that bind you aren't going to be, they're not going to look unpleasant from the outside. You know, they're not going to, if you have an individual in your life that is holding you back and limiting you, if they've got any kind of intelligence about them, they're going to be surreptitious about it. They're going to be a little bit sneaky about it. They're going to maybe ply you with goods, with fruits. There's fruits here at the base of this altar that they're paying homage to the Devil with. They're bowed down, they're crouched over, you know, they're not in the straight spine place of power. They're limiting themselves even to the height that they can go to in their physical body, let alone the limitless possibilities that they have within themselves etherically, and to go forward from there. So whatever these messages are of loving, caring, affection, then it could be quite creative, and it could take quite a bit for you to see through what is actually happening. And so that goes to the collective stage too, in that right now there's plenty of people on the collective stage that are full of promises, full of hope, full of you know, they're going to do this, that and the other to help and protect you because you serve them, you affiliate with them, or you in the political sphere, you know, you uplift them. Again, you're externalizing, if this resonates with you, you're externalizing outside of self to another force outside of self. Not a sensible thing to do. And of course these promises will look good, but then you can very quickly, with most people on the political sphere right now, look at the contradictions as to, well, they're saying this, but why are they doing that? Things aren't as they seem, basically. And so it's to unleash yourself from these chains that bind you to this devil, whatever this devil or devils might be in your life, is to really dig into your inner child. Find out what in your inner child still gets hooked by these sneaky little attacks, these sneaky little things that, or people or systems that will try and limit you. Do something that is childlike. Start to feed that inner child with things that do bring you joy, even in the face of everything that's going on right now. Find your childlike inner joy. Then you can start having that relationship again with self, with that inner child, to be able to hear properly what that child, what happened at certain points of your life as you were growing up to conform you or to make you susceptible to these chains that the devil binds you with. To build up that relationship, to recognize that whether it's a physical child in your life or whether it is your physical inner child, that inner child doesn't speak like an adult. If it's not been listened to for quite a while, then things are going to come out. You know, if a child feels uncomfortable about sharing their emotions, their feelings, or what's happened at school maybe, they can often come home and act out. They can often deliberately, seemingly, get into trouble because they don't know how else to speak out, that I need some kind of control here. I need some kind of outside force to make me feel safe here. So even if it means me getting into trouble because I don't know how to verbalize what's happened today, whatever that might have been, then they'll do that. Anybody with children or has experience with children will know that your inner child is no different, especially when it's been ignored for quite some time, when it's been bound and chained. It's not going to trust you at first to share with you what, where and how and who put these plants within you that limited your belief system, that limited you to a belief system, or limited you to externalizing power source rather than knowing that you have this inner power within. But doing something that brings you joy, doing something that makes you feel like a child. Goodness, go to a park and go on a swing and feel those butterflies in your tummy again. I've done that quite a few times to make that giggle and take yourself back and allow that child. The best way, when my daughter was having an operation that I'd had to have, we knew when she was born that she was suffering with the same thing, very serious, and she needed to have an operation. So as soon as she was big enough and strong enough to have that operation, we had to maintain her on meds for quite some time. And then when she was 5 years old, she had to have this quite serious, life-changing operation. And so with that, the nurses that came out helped me by bringing a dolly, and we played role play. We played, me and her, you know, for days and nights, played role play about being the doctor, or her being the doctor, putting her in the place of power, and, you know, describing what the doctor felt about this dolly, that this doctor felt very protective and wanted to keep this dolly safe and make this dolly feel well again. And so that gained some trust in that imaginary world for my daughter, for me to be able to entrust her to these people who I had to say, this is my most precious thing, this is my most precious gift in my life. I held their hands, both the nurses and the doctors, and said, we've played role play, and in that role play you are the heroes, so make sure you're the heroes. And so it was a very powerful time for my daughter to be able to feel like she had some sense of control over a situation that was a bit dire, that was, you know, dangerous, that was frightening. And so your inner child is no different. It's going to take you doing something out of the norm, like going on a swing and feeling those butterflies again and making yourself giggle, like you did when you were 8 years old, when you went on a swing and felt those butterflies and realized you could propel yourself, feeling that sense of power. You know, when at first you're on a swing and you're getting pushed by your parents or your older siblings, and then all of a sudden you learn the skill of how to propel yourself, sticking your legs out and putting them in, sticking your legs out and putting them in. The joy that brought, the joy and the sense of divinity and sovereignty that brought. That's what that inner child needs for you to start approaching this and unpicking these chains, to take those chains from around that inner child. At that point, you can really get to the source of where these limitations, these labels, and these abuses got in that would have prepared you for the energy of the devil. And so the next card, the Four of Cups, clarified by the Six of Swords. So you see the Four of Cups here. He's got this emperor-like figure. He's got, you know, he's big, he's very round, he's not active, and he's got these temptations around him, and his focus is on that particular one sitting down in front of him. He can't even see the cup, the chalice that is being brought to him by the other lady. Now in this cup, it's showing that, you know, there is nourishment, there's some knowledge of self, there's some thing that he needs within that chalice, but he's too distracted right now. You can't see the wood for the trees. And maybe that's how this inner child feels, in that, you know, you're feeling tightened, you know, you're feeling bound, but you can't sort of even begin to see the wood for the trees as to where that got in. And so the Six of Swords, meaning the growth and the liberation, the letting go, speaks the recovery of something, moving away from pain, facing a problem and then being able to move on. The longer that you ignore this inner self, this inner child that's bound, the longer that you ignore this chalice that has the answers in, but might be a little bit difficult to approach, and it might take a different way of approaching it. Not approaching it as an adult, but approaching it as like a child, open-minded, enthusiastic, and going what seems to be the long way around, playing, role-playing, finding a way to liberate your inner child so that you can actually see this chalice, so that you can actually see this gift from the heavens that will give you the answers that you seek, and that will give you the liberation and the strength and mental agility to let go and move on for good. So the next card being the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands here, you see, he's got his horse at the ready, but you know, he's looking around in his environment. He's checking out which way the wind's going. He has the bird there to show that, you know, the direction of the wind, the power of the wind maybe. He has his wand facing, but you know, he's taking in the things around him. He's not fixed. He's not, he is actually liberated from the chains of the devil here, in that, you know, he's young at heart and he's able to change his direction without limiting himself. He doesn't limit himself to a fixed road. He understands his passions, he understands his drives, but he's not limited, he's mutable, he's able to flow. Now you're only able to do that when you have unbound yourself in some way. And he's able to take in not the distractions that we see on the collective stage and in our individual lives, because of course people are turning on people in a lot of scenarios, but actually he's able to go against that grain quite happily, because he's not judging himself on the external anymore. He's taking in the environment, he's taking in the elements, and he's working from there, and he's following his passions, and that is his drive. He's not allowing other people to hijack his wants or his needs. And so the Five of Swords speaks to some kind of victory. It speaks to the feeling that you might feel that you lose out on something initially while following these passions, because with these chains that you've come to know, it feels a lot like sometimes better the devil you know. Whereas, you know, the environment is vast and open, it might feel a little bit frightening to have that victory of and that liberation of self from whatever scenario, people, systems, things are limiting you. Excuse me. So it's not about who is the winner here. It's not about that. It's more than that. It's about this soul's path. It's about decommissioning yourself. I don't know why that word's coming up, from belief systems, family systems, friendship systems that were built up on illusion, and actually following your own heart and following your own passions and being an individual. And it might take a little while to get used to being the Page of Wands that doesn't really take on board other people's judgments. You know, he keeps flowing, he keeps moving forward. So to clarify that, we have that was the Knight of Wands. So that makes more sense in that the underlying here is this Page of Wands, So the underlying is the Page of Wands that, you know, might feel a little bit frightened, might feel a little bit nervous about following where he's led to follow, and moving away from old constructs. With the scaffolding up there, you know, it's falling down, it's crumbling, it's not usable anymore, it's not a home anymore, it's not a place anymore. So the Knight of Wands there, that I was talking about with the Five of Wands, is where, you know, that it's not about this victory, it's not about who wins, it's just about, you know, following your soul's path, following your passions, following where you are led to follow, not by outside forces, not by other people, but within, where your magnet is being drawn to within, and what feels right, what is pulling you in the right direction. And so on the bottom of the deck, on the other one, we've got the Four. Again, we've got the Four within the Emperor, Major Arcana, and this speaks to constructs, authority, taking authority. So with this Knight of Wands, with this Page of Wands, and now the Emperor, it talks about now is the time to start taking action within your life, really starting to recognize that the power is held within you. It is not held within a tomb outside of self that you worship in whatever way, shape or form, that you pay homage to, that you give tithe to in whatever way, shape or form. About building your own constructs, building your own foundations, building your own sovereignty and divinity. It speaks of this self-control. And so with this Five of Swords here, it does speak to, don't be getting into petty arguments, don't be getting into things where there isn't any real winner. It's just about people trying to prove their point or trying to keep their pride rather than their righteousness. The Emperor is above that. The Emperor is a leader, but he leads by example. And he builds things, he builds foundations that can be lived upon, used, expanded from. And so being Aries, the energy of Aries, it is this male authority, this male initiator. So it's this divine masculine energy of now is the time to take action in your personal lives. If we're all doing that in the collective, in numbers, then we will have an effect on that seeks to control and limit us and bind us to this devil's energy. So I hope that made sense for whoever needed to hear that. It's powerful, powerful days. We are in days where we're repeating history in a way that, you know, we need people to be individuals, to be sovereign, to be divine. It really will make a huge difference. The impacts are huge, for good or bad, higher frequency or lower frequency, depending on whether you are able and brave enough to take it on board for yourself to become that divine sovereign being that you all are. Much love, be balanced and be whole as always. If you'd like a private reading with me where we get into the nitty-gritty of your personal life, of what answers you seek, what you need, it's much more personal. You know, whatever is affecting your life, we can get much more direct answers and guidance for that. If you would like any energy work to align your energy field, to expand your energy field, to heighten your frequency, get in touch. Also, any spiritual guidance sessions, they're up for grabs too. You can get in touch with me with the details below. You can hit me up on Facebook on the True Divine page and drop me a private message there and we can get you booked in. So again, much love, be balanced, be whole, and I'll see you all soon. Mwah.